Your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Thursday, January 30th, and it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 weeks, so 2 weeks, that means Uncle Sarah's supposed to be here. He said he's on his way out here. He's about 2 minutes out. In the meantime, because we're going to be talking about serpents, devils, angels, and aliens, right? And whether Jesus ever traveled through Europe. You ever heard about Jesus traveling through Europe? I heard Jesus.
Yes.
I heard Jesus had a wife.
Yes.
I don't believe that foolishness.
I mean, I heard those things.
I don't believe that foolishness.
I never seen it. Did I tell you I've never met Jesus?
You never met Jesus?
No.
Not even when you was walking to Damascus?
No.
I mean, you never
Not
had that
even
blinded?
on that dark, cold night in Mangrove Key.
Yeah.
When I swear I saw the Chickchani. I know Jesus was with me, but I never met him.
And let's talk about you and your faith. Before Uncle, I mean, you started it, right? Before Uncle Sarah comes in, right? Dr. Cleveland Enius III. Do you believe that Jesus is a presence that could, like how Paul was walking and felt the presence of Jesus? Do you believe that Jesus could stop you and change you?
I think our ancestors are always present with us.
I like how you twisted that. That like a person, the persona of Jesus is an alien. I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just saying that it's written and suggested that some kind of superior being.
Well, the way that the Bible is presented to us, it's presented as if Jesus is both earthling and extraterrestrial.
An extraterrestrial meaning that it's just it's a being, but it's not necessarily supernatural.
Okay.
Because extraterrestrial means that that person's on, and for lack of a better word, the spectrum. There's a different being created, right? No, if they have intelligence, superior intelligence, still that they are on the spectrum.
Extraterrestrial suggests outside of Earth.
Outside of Earth.
So it doesn't necessarily mean supernatural.
But I don't think God could be an extraterrestrial, though. Because extraterrestrial to me seems like they were created also by the Creator. But we have Dr. Enius packing up right now. At least he's unpacking right now. And he can eavesdrop as we continue this conversation. And so he could come in at a first place.
With the two Georgie bundles of knowledge he just bring inside this room.
And the question I asked Aaron earlier, whether Jesus, the Savior, right, was an extraterrestrial, right? Whether he was an entity that was created by a superior power, that he and angels, the watchers, what scientists would call aliens now. And that these visitations that people are claiming they get now or having now are being visitation by these watchers or these angels.
Well, what's fascinating, again, like I said, the way that we are told the story, it suggests that he is extraterrestrial, right? But he himself said the opposite. And in fact, he said not just the opposite, but like the inverse. He said, like, I'm not from out there, I'm from within here. Right? Like, I don't exist out there, I exist within here. Like, I point to my chest, within you. The same way God exists within you.
So let me bring in Dr. Enius again. Welcome again, Dr. Enius, as we have our 2 weeks discussion about the Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, but also about a pop culture that is popping up right now that suggests that something called Anunnaki exists. And it just seems that your religion, your concept of Christianity coincides with this Anunnaki talk, right? That some beings from outer space traveled millions and millions of miles and decided to pass what them rocky places called, Aaron, where the belt, where the rock
The asteroid belt?
the asteroid belt, because it's some kind of destruction, some type of war happened, right? And that the asteroid belt is where they had the destruction of one planet, and they came to Earth, right? But these are not God. You see what I worked there? But some type of being who started this concept of either injecting the monkeys here and created man.
So listening to proponents of they tell you the same thing. The Anunnakis are gods, but they're not God, right?
They're
like there's
gods, but
them,
not
and then
God.
there's a way above them.
A creator.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we bring in Uncle Sarah, and thank you very much, Uncle.
So good morning. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Enius III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. I am the head priest of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah here in the Bahamas. And this conversation, it's not new. I think here in the Bahamas, there may be more of a conversation maybe on social media, or you're starting to see some remnants of what was being talked about, I don't know, for decades now, surfacing on social media. But when you talk about the Messiah, if you go to the book of John, chapter 8, verse 23, this African Messiah, this Yahshua Christ, he says unto them, ye are from beneath, and I am from above. This word above is the word anu in the Greek. This anu in the Sumerian text makes reference to the being or the individual that was considered the most high here on earth, Anu, right? That Sumerian Anu is younger than the ancient African Re Anu, A-N-N-U. And both of them had a portion of the Most High, this I Am, this great I Am that's talked about in Exodus chapter 3, verses 14 and 15, called Newry. This Ane, which is the word, or how you say I am, right, in these Shemitic languages, right, or one of the ways, is this Newry is considered the Most High, not manifested here on earth, but a portion of, so when you started the show earlier, or when I walked in, you were talking about of the Most High being in the Messiah, as he talked about in the book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 21. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is within." This portion of the Most High is within us, and our duty is to recognize that divinity and to merge and become at one with it, which is why we refer to ourselves as atonists. Now, with regard to the Messiah being an extraterrestrial, that term itself, extra, means something added to. Terra is another name for earth, and astral means from the celestial heavens. So something that has been added to earth from the celestial heavens. That's made very clear in the book of Revelations, where it talks about this war that's in heaven, and Satan and his hosts, they were cast out. So they would have been extraterrestrials. The Messiah is saying he is from above, right? Or he has a origin that exists beyond this planet, right? We wouldn't use the term extraterrestrial. These are celestial beings. Mm-hmm. You understand?
I want to give another parallel example. So I don't know what you call the people who love the Lord of the Rings or who follow Tolkien. In
I never really
Tolkien.
watched it.
Right, I haven't watched it either, right?
Caught some of it,
but I
but
came upon this fascinating theory, and basically they're saying that look, the Lord of the Rings is like a parallel or a Christian companion story, right? It's like a retelling of the Christian Bible, and basically what they're saying is when they say extraterrestrial, right, and Middle Earth, that imagine that the world is flat, and that we are now like in the inner Earth, in the middle of the concentric circles, and that the flood would have pushed a whole bunch of stuff out into Middle Earth. And that this Jesus who represents, or who has been presented to us as phenotypically white, right? But this Jesus was an extraterrestrial because he came from Middle Earth. He came from outside of the terra that we occupy. And I just thought, like, no, but here's the thing. I thought, wow, people listening to that, right, probably respond the same way that people listening to this show respond. Right, and say, like, that's just madness. That's just fantasy, right? But if we know that, then should we treat it with a little bit of extra empathy and then say, well, let's explore it?
Before I go to Uncle,
Why are you pointing towards
I can
the
ask
hell?
you, do you believe in angels?
I believe the ancestors are always with us.
So you don't necessarily believe in angels, but
No,
you
I'm
believe in
saying,
the ancestors.
I'm saying you may call them, I mean, some of the ancestors may call themselves angels. I mean, right? Like I just say,
Angels is angels, man. They ain't the ancestors.
and angels, where they come from? They somebody ancestors? They somebody family?
Celestial beings. Uncle,
Hey.
do angels exist?
Definitely.
And when you say angels, are they in the spaceship who's come down?
Revelation 21 talks about this New Jerusalem. We talked about this before, right? This New Jerusalem, and this New Jerusalem has actual dimensions. It has the actual description of what some could deem as a planet-sized ship, right? On that ship. In fact, when it first came into
Aliens.
so insofar as you see a Newry, a Bahamian, traveling to Florida, you would be considered a legal alien. If we're using that terminology, if we're using that languaging, then we could say alien. Alien as in foreign to this space, right? But when we look at it from an African perspective, when we look at it from the perspective of the original books of the Bible, you're talking about beings that have been coming to this planet for millennia, for many, many millennia. They come and they leave. And in one instance, when they came, they, as it talks about in God that came in unto these daughters of men, or that took these daughters of men, and they left children. You understand? And in leaving these children, some of us have the DNA of those who would be considered agreeable celestial beings, and some of us have the DNA of those who would be considered disagreeable celestial
No,
beings.
no, but in the Tolkien theory now, right? That the purpose of the flood, right, to cleanse the earth, and that some of these beings, some of these leviathans, some of these what we would describe as monsters, right, were pushed out into Middle Earth by the flood waters, right, and that's why we no longer see them in this part of the planet that we occupy.
Have you ever pictured, Aaron, the war in heaven? Like visualize it, right? I always thought that angels had some kind of human body and that they were sword fighting. Because the Roman times, right? And that was a physical fight. And as Pastor Uncle speak, it seemed to have been a spaceship war room, New Jerusalem, advanced technology fight with advanced weaponry, that explosion. You know that, I forget the people in India, they have a whole storyline about this big destruction in space and the heavens, and the people of India tell their story.
Look at that, another similar story.
Yeah, right? And they talk about the war in heaven. They have a whole Indian story about the war in heaven. I forget the book name. You know the book I'm talking about?
Well, the Vedas,
Okay.
they talk about the Vimanas. They call them Vimanas.
When we say the war in heaven, can you give me an image on how that looked? Was it people fist fighting? Because heaven is not a solid place. I want to know how they get to fight in heaven.
How you know solid?
I look in heaven all the time.
Here's the first thing.
You looking up? You know what I mean? You see in heaven?
We are told that there are streets of gold. We are told that there's milk and there's honey. All those things are physical. Whenever the angels that
in
are...
the Bible, though.
What's not in the Bible?
Milk and honey, streets of gold.
Well, the streets of gold is mentioned in Revelation 21, where it's talking about the New Jerusalem with the streets of gold, the type of gold that's on this particular craft or planetary ship is see-through. All right, it's you being used as a superconductor. All right, that's what the gold is for. All right, there are gems that are mentioned on this particular, and I'll just go to it for the sake of making it myself clear. When we go to Revelation 21, and it's making reference to the very aspects of they call it the foundations of the city. Revelation 21 and 18, and the building of the wall. Matter of fact, I'll go back to 17. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. This is gold that's being used as a superconductor. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, etc., etc. These particular gems or crystals, right? They're used to break down light as they move through the various galaxies, as they move through the various solar systems, and they use the energy from the various suns that they're passing to power themselves through these various galaxies. All right. I forgot the initial question. You were talking about
Physical war in
right.
heaven.
So the physical war in heaven now, it didn't start out as a physical war. It started out as a mental war. All right. When you go to the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and it's talking about this angel Michael, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angel, all right, and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And this is where it explains how the war actually was. In verse 10 of Revelation 12, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. The war was that this Satan, this Lucifer, in the third scroll of Papyrus, one of the original books of the Bible, we talk about the story of Lucifer. And he was not respecting, so Michael being a warring angel would have been at the helm of the fleet of the Most High. This particular being, Satan, this Lucifer, he was of a different species, right? He did not feel that Michael should be the one who was ruling over him. He felt like I could do what you're doing better. Able angels, the Elohim, that they were creating a narrative about the Most High in order to control that particular realm. And so he started to accuse and create mischief in a way that caused this dissension in the heaven of heavens. All right, this is in a place called the 19, and you'll see this in the Enuma Elish and the Gilgamesh epics. They talk about a place called Risk. This word risk, which comes from a word razaka, which means to provide. This was a place of provisions, or they call it the heaven of heavens. The book of Job, chapter 16, verse 19, talks about my records are on high. The book of Chronicles, we talk about the heavens of heavens. This heaven of heavens, which is one of the 8th planet of the 19th galaxy, is where this dissension took place. The reason why this Satan was there, right, and I'm just giving you the truncated or the cliff notes of the story, was because when, as we talked about in Revelation 21, this particular ship was coming through this solar system, it actually had an accident, which is part of why you have Uranus and Neptune. If you go to NASA's website, they talk about why Uranus is on the axis that it is on, because there was some huge crash. They talk about the fact that there are these asteroids in the system, which is debris from a huge crash. The planet that these Dragons were on was destroyed. And so to assist them, they said, well, you can have a continent on our planet. This planet, I know this sounds crazy to some people, but this is in the records, right? On this planet Risk. In allowing them to have control of a particular continent, they decided after many, many years, we want to control everything. This is where Isaiah 14:12 comes in, where he says, I'm going to rule over the Most High. I'm gonna take over this heaven of heavens, essentially what he was saying, right? When this happens and he is cast out, and particular war has continued. So the war wasn't one war. So initially it was a mental war, and then it became a physical war in many instances. On Earth, in many instances, it's a physical war, but it's also a mental war. So there's propaganda, right? But the propagandists also have an army to back their propaganda up. And so you see both a mental and a physical war taking place right in our midst here on Earth.
And then we see it in contemporary times, right? Like that which we accuse the oppressors of the Ma'afa coming in with the Bible and taking the land. We see that like in fact, right now, the European pundits are saying, look, the biggest global conflict in the world, bigger than Ukraine, is the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Because of the resources.
And in our lifetime, we know that that country was captured and colonized. In fact, they went in with the Bible. No, I'm talking about
now
in our contemporary time, in our lifetimes, right now. They went in and they did the very same thing. They sent in the missionaries and the people with the Bibles. Yeah. And then they cut the country in half and just created a new country out of nowhere.
But they did that all over the continent.
Right, but I'm talking about in 2000. And I think that's relevant because I shouldn't have been spending my money on bears. I should have been sending it to the Democratic Republic of Congo.
But to the point that C. Newry is making, the book of Hebrews chapter 13, in the first 2 verses, it makes mention of entertaining strangers, for many have entertained angels unaware. Right? These angels, the word angel just means messenger. Okay? These angels are very much physical. In fact, Gabriel, who was an angel, is referred to as a man in Daniel chapter 9, verse 21. The man Gabriel. They don't call him an angel, they call him the man Gabriel, which takes a whole a new perspective of Gabriel coming to Mary. Right? That's a whole nother show, right? Oh yeah. But the reality is that because we have been influenced by the theology of the Greco-Romans, which when you dive into their theology, it goes back to the Norse records. It goes back to these
is it the Edda?
Pros Edda, right? Which is fine for them, right? In fact, when you understand what the Grimm brothers were doing in Germany by taking these nursery rhymes and putting them together to assist their country with gaining a national identity, if you study, as we have in the Holy Coptic Church and continue to do through our critical theology seminary, we learn that a lot of what they're putting on us as indigenous people are their stories from their records, the Norse records. If you go to the Greeks, you look at the Odyssey, you look at Jason and the Argonauts, you look at Bell and the Dragon, things that they make many of us study in high school or in university. And these stories were their scriptures at one point. You understand? However, when we go to the African theology and you look at the pyramid texts, when you look at the Shabaka stone, which are actual records that we have, to this day, you can go to the British Museum today and look at the Shabaka stone unless it's on loan somewhere, right? I've been there, I've seen it, right? The pyramid texts, which came in the 5th and 6th dynasties under, they call them the Pharaoh or Fereti Unas, right? These are the oldest religious writings in the world. But we as Africans are not theologies and cosmologies. We are taught that they're pagan. We're taught that these are not the original biblical stories.
But Dr. Ineas, the Bible just makes sense to me. It seems complete to me. The 66, even though I know there are more books or whatever, it just makes sense to me that Jesus was born, that if I follow him, I become saved, and I get to go to heaven.
And that makes sense. And I agree
It
with
makes
you.
sense.
I agree with you, right? But what doesn't make sense is when we look at it through a Greco-Roman lens. Yes, the Messiah is the way, right? Him being the way mean that he had a way of life where those who believed on him, who lived and did the works that he did, could eventually live like he lived as a Nazarite, whereby the heaven that he was mentioning was the kingdom of heaven on earth. He wasn't talking about going somewhere. In fact, he talked about a remnant. Do you know the word remnant means left behind? Do you know that people are trying to go to heaven, but the remnant are those who have been left behind? Because the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 talks about a great falling away. And those people now who are crying or waiting for a rapture, not realizing the word be stolen means to be everything that happened to us during the slave trade is what the word rapture means. So we're waiting to be enslaved again if we're waiting to be raptured, a word, by the way, that is not even found in the Bible.
We have a number of phone calls, people pending, Uncle.
Sure.
You think there's angels amongst us now?
Definitely. Without a doubt.
Messengers?
Marcus Garvey was an angel amongst us.
Marcus Garvey was an angel.
Dr. Francis Cress Wilson was an angel
No, he
amongst
was
us.
not an angel.
Dr. Marimba Ani is an angel amongst us.
He won't be an angel.
Dr.
No,
Ben,
don't
Dr.
put me
John
on that.
Henry Clark. These are our angels. We reject them. And let me just say this. The one sin that we cannot be forgiven of in the Bible is blaspheming the Holy Spirit, is blaspheming the Spirit of truth. We blaspheme every spirit of truth that comes to us and tries to get us back on our feet. And this is why we suffer. This is why we won't be forgiven. This is why we are cursed as a people if we choose.
Aaron, so we can go to this phone
No,
call.
go to the phone line first. I ain't gonna forget.
Go ahead, caller. Say Marcus Garvey's an angel. Go ahead,
He
caller.
had a message.
He had a message.
That's
yeah.
right.
Caller girl, what?
Yeah, great show as usual.
Go ahead, I hear you.
Yes. Okay, the biggest division in mankind today is religion. Right? I have a question for your guest. Every seems to have his right and claim to be the right religion. The Catholics claim to be the right religion. The Baptists claim to be the right religion. The Rastas claim to be the right religion. The Muslims claim to be the right religion, right? All this division. What makes your guest theory about his religion right and everyone else wrong? Because it's just confusing the people.
Right, that's a great question.
Certain things that your guest comes up with, right, it lines up, but certain things are a little insane.
Okay.
Not to be insulting, right, but
I understand what he's saying.
Insane. Like spiritual retention and all those other stuff he's talking about, sex and season, is just insane.
And we can get into that next. I'm glad you
Sex
mentioned
and
it.
season is insane, sir.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm glad he mentioned it. Go ahead, brother.
Let me
Go ahead.
let him explain that because I don't understand that one yet.
But, okay,
There ain't no Bahamian in history of Bahamianism who believe in sex and season.
Come on, uncle. Come on,
That
uncle.
one ain't gonna happen.
Well, the first thing you want to do is understand what it means. But let's address the first point, right? He said everybody claims to have the truth. I'm paraphrasing what he said, right? In the Holy Coptic Church, we're not saying that we are the only church that is right and everybody else is wrong. That's not what we're teaching. We're saying that for the Orientals and those who follow Shinto or those who follow Buddhism or those who follow Taoism, that is their religion. That is what they should be following, right? The Europeans should be following their Greco-Roman interpretation of scriptures. You understand? And we could go around the planet. The Indians, amongst their caste system, they follow various aspects of the Hindu religion, and as they should. We're saying we as Africans, we have our theology. In fact, in the book of one of the places in the Bible, in Matthew 22:32, it says, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That's a family. That's not everybody's family. That's a specific family. So who was this specific family? That's what we're saying. We're saying we have the 3 groups of 12 royal tribes. And those 3 groups of 12 royal tribes were birthed out of Abraham and his wife Hagar, Abraham and his wife Sarah, and Abraham and his wife Keturah. And those three groups of 12 royal tribes are mentioned in the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verses 23 and 25, where it talks about Assyria, Egypt, and Israel being one group of people. So that's what we're saying.
Absolutely. Producer Prep, the phone non-Coptic Church member, it's the critical theory. It's the referencing of texts from other religions respectfully.
Right.
That suggests that
We respect
it's
all
not a
others.
war.
No.
Right? And that's why it's not crazy to me. Cecil referenced the Indian flood. Cecil referenced the Indian war in heaven. This boy don't believe in nothing but the Christian Bible.
Right. But he respects the fact that there are people who have that.
I have concluded if you ain't Christian, you can burn.
Right.
I mean, anyone who say they live in Israel, who say they live in India, and whatever it is, if you ain't Christian, you can burn. Hell hot. I'm just saying, Uncle, hell hot. I try to save Aaron.
Don't look at me.
Let's go to the caller because
It finished
hell hot.
for me. It finished for me.
Let's go. Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller. Caller, girl. Go ahead.
Newry.
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure you know that hell hot.
I know. Aaron Green.
Good morning,
and
sir.
to Uncle Sarah.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Well, if they don't, if they ain't sure, but they believe they need to listen to Uncle Sarah, because he may not be 100%, but he's somewhere up in the mid to high 90s with what he's saying locally and astronomically. He said something a while ago, and I thought anyone was crazy or knew the definition of the word rape. The word rape comes from the Latin word rapere or raptus, the Roman word, which means to snatch, to grab, or
right.
to carry away.
That's right.
Now, to snatch a woman against her will, he ain't got nothing to do with rape, with sexually assaulting her, That is called rapere or in Latin language. That's to take things that doesn't belong to you. Remember when old people used to say, Jesus, Lord, look how they rape and pillage that village, eh? Exactly. So I just called to congratulate Uncle Sarah because I thought only me one was crazy.
Thank
Thanks
you very
for taking
much.
my call.
At least there's more than one people
That's
crazy
right.
today.
Lead to us.
It's two. You're crazy. Let's go to the next caller. Go ahead, caller. Guided Radio AM.
How you doing?
Very well.
Hey, upon Uncle,
Yeah, brother.
to forgive the last caller before GNN, right? Some people, the Negro, it could never find his way anymore. His mind is being raped spiritually and factually as it comes to religion. And so the question for an intriguing mind would, did man know the Bible before God before the Bible was written? And of course. So when you look at history, we would see that the Aztecs, the Anasazis, and people to the east, right? They have their depiction, but Utnapishtim, the Epic of Gilgamesh, stories of the flood.
Right,
that,
Utnapishtim.
that they call. So people are very limited. So with me personally, right, I go by my observation. I've never seen anyone went to this heaven, and I've never seen anyone went to this hell. So I'm leaning with your ideology. Another thing is, the Negro really believes that somebody owns God. So I was appalled. Me and you could debunk the Catholic religion with a million different facts. And firstly, I am against the doctrine of Immaculate Conception and the doctrine, the transubstantiation doctrine by the Roman papacy, which is BS. You can't be that stupid to believe that this man is God, Jesus Christ in flesh on earth. Who authorized him to do so? We are so. We can never find our way, Andrew. Just forgive me, man, please. Because what I'm saying is, it is really ridiculous the way we think.
But we
the
can.
Negro will never find his way. Which religion owns the Almighty God? Since you're talking about the Baptist stuff, there's no difference in the. All right, I'm non-denomination, right?
Right.
I believe in
The Anglicans, that's the
Indians
answer.
believed in spiritualism. You really believe the Indian people didn't know God because the Europeans wrote that and told you that? You really believe they didn't know God? You really believe the
52.
people in Asia
I
Minor
can
didn't know
answer
God?
you right now when you finish.
The wise men came and they knew that Yahshua was born. How would they have the knowledge to read the stars, know that he was born, and come into the city? And so we have to juxtapose, and stop being naive. Some people are really naive. Sometimes you have to forget the religion and the facts and just use common sense. Give thanks, man. I'm sickened.
Yes, brother.
52 and Uncle Sarah, if you don't become a Christian, you can burn. That's the full, that's it. That's it.
Said-
All
said.
these other ones you're talking about and making way for and inclusive,
The Messiah never said that.
No?
The Messiah never said that.
What?
In fact, the Messiah warned about people who call themselves Christians because he never called himself a Christian. All right.
He never called himself a Christian.
Because he didn't follow himself.
when did he call himself a Christian?
He just didn't know what he was.
He in Matthew 24 verse 5, he said, "For many shall come in my name, saying I am Christ, and shall deceive many." Okay? First of all, the word Christ was an interpreted word, as we talk about in John 1:41, where the word Messiah was being interpreted to Christ. And this Christ they were interpreting was Krishna, all right? The Hindu influence that's in the Bible, all right, that made its way into the Greco-Roman religion, becomes this Christ, which is not the Christ, which is the African. Let me explain what I mean. Hosea 13:4 says, "Yet I am the Lord thy God from the land of Egypt, and thou shalt know no God but me, for there is no Savior beside me."
See? One way.
But which one? I am the Lord thy God from Egypt. I am this African God. I am not this European God that we hold on to in this country. The word Bible means Egyptian papyrus. But we don't want to let go of what the oppressor has beat into us for over 400 years.
We don't know how.
I'm going to go to the next call. I'm going to
say that
ask you
yeah.
this. Do you believe there's other ways to find salvation other than my Christianity?
If you are of a group of people that have a bloodline that has already shown you what salvation is, which in the Holy Coptic Church we recognize that we have always had 9 sacred rights. We've always had a way through rel cel wep, religion, economics, labor, sex, gender, education, law, war, security, entertainment, and politics. 9 levels of people activity that allow for us to rule ourselves, which in ruling ourselves gives us the salvation that we're seeking. We, as a group of people, we were never monoliths. So we, the Zulus, were not trying to convert the Ashantis to Zulu, right? The Yoruba are not trying to convert the Igbo to Yoruba. We respected the fact that the Most High Heavenly One was within us all, and if we stayed within these laws of Ma'at. See, each species has laws that they must abide by or they go extinct.
And just stick a pin. Right now, Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Kagame having a hard time right now trying to apply European principles, like political principles, on people who are inherently African. They tribal is right? Like that's that type of thing right there.
Right. Let's go to this caller right now. Producer Patrick, caller through. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, CA. Good morning, Miss Green, and good morning, Brother Uncle.
Good morning, brother.
Morning.
Yeah, I totally agree with 52 when he said that the black people's minds have been raped and stuff like that, and interesting thing what I thought about when I heard the thing with the rapture was that the rapture already happened because
Yep.
all of those
Can't happen. I still here with y'all.
Listen to
Hold on, it feels like sufferation?
I suffering now.
That's exactly what it is.
Listen to what I'm about to say, CA,
Go ahead.
and see if you can understand what I'm trying to say. Well, I just thought about it while I was listening. It's because those of us who have been snatched up from the motherland and brought to
That's
this
right.
Western Hemisphere, right? You're all caught up in Jesus, you see. Like Jesus run things over here, like Christianity, like so it's as if you're already caught up in a rapture, right here. You understand, Uncle? You get the point I'm making.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, but Uncle, but I with you on that spaceship and that crash landing thing, Uncle. Sound like a comic book.
But let me ask you: you believe in that there were watchers?
Me?
Yeah, you. If you believe there's watchers, like the Bible said, there's watchers watching the earth for whatever reason.
I mean, but I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Watchers. I mean, I believe that.
No, I just want to know if you believe in there's watchers.
I mean, but I don't know what you're talking about when you say
The
watchers.
Bible said there were watchers looking down, and they going down with the sons of
man.
man, and etc. That story.
Yeah, I mean, well, but that
Do
kind of
you
thing,
believe
yeah,
in the
but
Anunnaki?
Let me put it like how I understand it. Let me put it like how I understand it, because it got something to do with when Uncle was in last time to be talking about the thing. Because Uncle, remember you talking about the Joseph thing? You asked me how Jesus was like a Joseph
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And remember I told you that Joseph would get the unfair punishment?
Right.
Well, wasn't Jesus killed unjustly?
Yeah. According to
Yeah, he
the.
lost his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unjustly. So I mean, so it's the character, it's a role. And see, And the reason why, like I was telling you before, Uncle, because what does a people who has been in captivity for 400 plus years and lost themselves need most of all?
But before you go on, do you believe in the watchers?
And the watchers?
The people who's looking down. And do you believe in that
I believe in the
Anunnaki
watchers,
story?
yeah.
And they saying that they was watching and gone and what about the story about the sons of God going down to the sons of
Listen,
daughters?
if I said you to go mine gold for me, I watching you too.
Anyway, we gotta take a break.
I believe in some of that, CA, but let me take my point quick so Uncle understand.
Yeah, 30 seconds. We're going to...
You see, so Uncle, when you're in captivity, right, Uncle, you can't have a king in captivity unless you, as the oppressed people, your leaders being posted up by the oppressor. You understand? What you need most is you need an awareness, you need an awakening. Like you said before, you need a message, you need a person who could come along and wake the people up. You need an idea, because you can't kill an idea. You understand where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We're going to take this quick break. I call I see you. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation, because the Bible talking about watchers. The Anunnaki said they was watching us. Somebody was watching my people on earth, and then they intervened. And now we have all kind of things happening. But we'll be right back as we talk about this some more.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good for nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products. Affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Print Masters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Alpha Sounds Promotion presents Back to Love, an unforgettable evening of smooth R&B vibes and cherished memories. Join us at the Nassau Cruise Port on Saturday, February 15th for a spectacular all-white affair featuring live performances by soul sensations Freddie Jackson,
Hey everybody, it's Freddie Jackson. I'm coming to Nassau, Bahamas, and we are looking forward to the night of love.
also performing Regina Bell. Also featuring Bahamas' very own Essence Band. Back to Love, Saturday, February 15th. It's a spectacular all-white affair at the Nassau Cruise Port. Get tickets online. BahamasEtickets.com. Plantation Bar and Grill, Big Boys Cafe, and Tropics Bar and Grill. For more info, contact 822-6863.
And I hope to see you there.
Best material at the best prices, and you need to put food on the table. Well, check out these prices at Pinder Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68, includes VAT. By the way, all these prices include VAT. Great Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, £15, $16.50, £30, $19.80. Owens Corning Duration Shingles and Certainty Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon Roof Cement, $33.47. When it comes to screwing and nailing, Pinder got you covered. He got every nail and screw you could possibly need.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio AM. This is CA Newry. Of course, we have Dr. Cleveland Ineas III on here with us. Of course, Aaron Green is with
I was
me.
here?
Of course, yes, you.
No. Even when the boy call and say good morning, I say, boy, I in hell. I can't even see the sun. It's hot, but I can't see the sun.
I don't want you burn. I don't want you to burn. One thing I appreciate with the Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, their religion seems pragmatic, like sense. Even though sometimes it seems very sci-fi-ish, right? But there are a number of people who seem to be usurping your way of life, your way of worship, with this more sci-fi culture on YouTube. So I find that interesting. But before I have you comment on that, you're supposed to be having some type of event.
Yeah, we have our annual Love Lies Liberation, which is a you could reference it as we use it as a I use it as a course, right? A course on relationships, a course on life. When we say relationships, we don't just mean what someone referred to as friendship relationships. The reality of how we come together and ultimately create the energies necessary to do what it is that we seek to do, right? This year, we're focusing a lot on the myths in what some would call romantic. We call it Africantic relationships, right? We move away from Rome, right? But there are many things that are said that can be considered, or we understand that these are myths. And you don't have to agree with us, but each Saturday from February 1st to February 22nd, you can go to journeyhomegroup.com. You can register. It's only $5, all right, to register. But certain myths, right? Opposites attract. Is myth or not a myth, right? Looking for the perfect partner is a fool's quest. Myth or not a myth? Love don't come easy. Is that a myth or not a myth?
Love comes easy. Is common sense that is betraying behind.
How about this one? Take me as I am. Is that a myth?
Real. I can take you straight back to your mommy house.
Is that a myth? Is that a myth? But the caller, one of the previous callers, he talked about the sex out of season and how that seems so far-fetched when, unfortunately, we have fallen so far as a people away from our true religious identity that seems far-fetched. We have what's called confirmation in the churches today, which comes out of the rite of passage, right? This rite of passage where we actually learned about the reality of sex out of season. We'll do another show on it, right? Because a lot of people said they enjoyed that show. But the reality is that we have accepted so many lies, and we have taken these lies as authentic truth, that when we are now exposed to realities that we can actually check up, that we can actually look into, many of us are afraid to do so. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32 says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So if you're not free, clearly you don't know the truth. All right? I know you mentioned something earlier. I wanted to touch on it before we left.
Me, I want to believe. I just don't want to burn, man. You see how dark I am?
So
I was close to the sun before.
Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits to see whether or not they are.
I love that. I love that.
Right?
I just thought I had a caller just now.
1 John chapter 4. No, you shouldn't just believe every spirit.
Okay, the caller back now. So let me engage.
But not at the same time. Don't be taking the tequila right after the gin, right after the vodka, right after the rum.
That'll give you a headache and thing. Yeah. Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, great, sure. Okay, yeah, your guest keep on saying sex is a season, right? I have a pen and paper right now. Could he please tell me
what season
the time and the
So
season?
so caller, I with you, because when I first heard that, I was like, you gotta be joking.
Also, is February 14 a part of the season?
Yeah. So when we say sex out of season, we're not talking about everyone having sex at a specific time of the year, as much as we're saying when two people get together based on their chemistry and based on who they are, this is the best time for them to conceive if they want to conceive a child, right? If they're not conceiving a child and they're creating energy to build or create a business, let's say, because sex can be used, sex is sacred energy exchange, right? That energy can be used to build a business. That energy can be used to build finances. If you want to build finances or you want to build business, this is why you had different sexual positions. Different sexual positions would actually determine the type of energy that you create and determine what you use the energy for to create. That's the power we have. You understand? And
Different sex positions determine the type of energy you create?
Yes. There's different types of energies depending on what it is you're trying to create. So what happens is because we have not been taught this information, we go looking into the Kama Sutra when we have our own information from the Min priesthood that teaches us as Africans how to use the various sexual positions to create the type of energy that we need in order to create the type of families, communities, and nation that we ultimately need. But if we are using sex as just a tool of pleasure, then we're creating a lot of adverse energy. And this is why in many instances, the person that you were so in love with on February 14th, by February 16th, you trying to break out their glass and flat their tire because what that energy that you created did was it turned back on you because you didn't know what to do with it.
Before you go, you want to say something, Aaron, before you
No, I was just going to say for people who are like, that's some old ancient like foolishness. Like, have you ever heard of pheromones? Like we could talk about some modern day science, right? And that your body produces a chemical, right? That the person who for you, it matches with them. It registers to them.
But for that last caller, go to journeyhomegroup.com. Your questions will be answered in these next every Saturday in February. Join us and ask your questions.
How can people get in contact with you, attend your church service, get more you preaching on particular subjects, things like that?
So my number is 426-1148, 426-1148. You can find the Holy Coptic Church Bahamas branch on YouTube. You can go to Coptic TV, which has videos from all of our various churches or branches around the world. That's Coptic QUBTIC TV. And then, of course, you can go to journeyhomegroup.com. That's our website where you can buy books. You can buy previous recordings of not only mine, but the various kahunat around the world. And each Wednesday at 6 p.m. we are on Zoom, and each Sunday at 2 p.m. we are on Zoom. Face-to-face is Sundays at 10 a.m.
All right. A great text here for you, sir. Thank you, Anku, for reminding these black people that Abraham had 8 sons. We only hear about 2. So how come he didn't have any daughters, or was not important enough for them to acknowledge?
Important.
Because of the time they live in. They ain't going to heaven yet? You say, I ain't gone to heaven yet.
Rebecca Churin, that's the only one we want to talk about. That arrest that, then burn.
That's Israel, yeah. But so the point I was making in the texting in is we are saved by the blood. And if we're saved by the blood, then we're talking about a family. We're talking about a specific family.
No outside children,
We're talking about outside children is a European myth.
Yeah, cool.
Children is children cry, but yet they come.
You in the blood, you ain't outside.
What?
If you in the blood,
my mother would have been vexed trying to get the outside children to get my inheritance.
You sound like Sarah.
Yeah, trying to say.
Like Sarah.
Put her out in the desert.
Yeah.
Put her, Hagar, out in the desert. We could talk about it. Isaac alone. The Ishmael one ain't coming.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I enjoyed you.
Yes.
Dr. Edius. Thank you very much, Aaron
Tell the
Green.
producer, play the music.
Play the music there, producer, please. Play the music there as we
Thank you
close
for
out.
having us.
Because I'm a woman, I ain't authorized to say anything in this hour.
You can put the music as we go out. See the music there. Have a wonderful day.
We shall do it.
Tell them finna draw me out when the world government inna falling out. Only few man survive crawling out. Run left him colleague them sprawling out. Nearly dead. They dig up all him out and him too tranquilize up his stall him out. The vampires can't get no calling out. When they me from the shout last week, him mistress find a new shoes. Wife can't get no news and lately she starting to doubt. She still searching and the youth them balling out. Working out and out. Well it's not safe to go walk about. A slaughter us some bag that to water out, she start to rouse. Sometimes she want a spouse, she start go out. That beat a dog a stout. Guns come out, working people funds run out. Keep a show last week and no one come out. Bombs come out, make your tongue just run out.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.